The Storyteller presents Rumpelstiltskin.
Once there was a miller who had a very beautiful daughter named Joy. He was so proud of Joy that one day he spoke to the king about her. He told the king that his daughter could spin gold out of ordinary straw.
That is really most unusual. I must meet your daughter. Bring her to the palace tomorrow.
Thank you, your majesty, I will.
Early the following morning, the miller and his daughter put on their best clothes and made their way to the palace. The girl looked lovely in a silk dress. She wore a gold necklace and a ruby ring, yet she was very, very sad. "Oh, Father, I am frightened. You know that I can't spin gold from straw."
Don't worry, my child. The king will find you so beautiful, he will forget all about the straw and will want to marry you.
How wrong he was. The king was rather a greedy man and really wanted the girl to spin gold for him from straw. When the miller and his daughter arrived, the king had his servants take the girl to a room in the tower. There she found a large pile of straw and a spinning wheel.
"All right, young lady, the king would like to have this straw spun into gold and finished by tomorrow. Don't fail him."
They closed the door and she was alone. She felt so helpless, she began to cry. "How can I do all that? I can hardly spin at all, let alone spin gold from straw."
Don't cry, little one. I can help you.
There in the doorway stood a funny little man. "But how? I can't spin gold from straw. If you can help me, I will give you my necklace."
Agreed.
So she took off the necklace and gave it to him. He started to spin, and before she knew it, all the straw had become pure gold. "Oh, thank you so very much. I could never have done it without you."
It's nothing, my dear. I am glad I could be of help to you.
The little man left. Joy was very tired. She went over to a cot in the corner of the room and slept soundly for the rest of the night. The sun was shining brightly when the king himself came to see her the next morning. He was most delighted to see what she had done. He touched and admired the spun gold that shimmered brightly in the sun.
That's wonderful, my dear. Now let us see what more you can do.
With this, he led her into another room, where there was twice as much straw as in the first room.
In the morning, I will come back for the gold. Don't fail me.
"Oh, dear, what can I do? It is impossible. There is so much straw." And again she cried bitterly. But the little man appeared again and stood in the doorway smiling at her.
What will you give me if I help you once more?
"I will give you my ruby ring. It was a present from my mother. It is yours if you help me."
He took the ring and put it on his finger. Then he sat down and started to spin. The little man spun all night and made the straw into gold. Then he left. The king came and ordered his men to take away the gold. The king was very pleased with Joy. Not only could she spin gold, but for the first time he noticed that she was also very beautiful. He took her into a third room, which was filled to the ceiling with straw. The king took Joy into his arms and said,
If you spin all this straw into gold, I will marry you and make you my queen. But if you fail, my people will laugh at me, and unfortunately you will have to die. I will return in the morning.
With that, he left. Once more the door closed, and soon the poor girl was weeping hopelessly. The little man appeared again, and she said,
I know you can help me, but I have nothing left to give you. You already have my necklace and my ring.
I will think of something. I know what I want. After you marry the king, promise me your firstborn child.
But that is a terrible thing to ask. How can I promise you something that precious?
Either you make that promise, or I don't spin gold.
All right, if I must. You have my promise.
Before long, the spinning wheel was whirring again, and all the straw turned into gold. When the king came the next morning, he was amazed. The gold almost completely filled the room. The king kept his promise and married Joy. Some time passed, and the queen had her first baby boy. She loved the child very much and forgot all about her promise to give the baby to the little man. Suddenly, one day he appeared and demanded the baby. She pleaded with him and promised him all the riches in the land, but he refused.
I will give you 3 days. During that time, you must guess my name. If you can't, the child is mine.
She sat and tried to think of all the names she could.
Casper? No. Charles? No. Lancelot? No. Oh, how can I ever guess?
Finally, she confessed her trouble to her husband, the king. The king sent his servants all over the kingdom to try and find out the little man's name. Each day, the little man would appear and say,
Have you guessed it yet?
But whatever name she tried, it was not the right one. He would laugh and go away. Finally, on the 3rd day, a servant came to her.
Your Majesty, I saw the strangest thing yesterday. I passed by a little house, and there was a funny little man dancing around inside, and he was singing, I'm going to bring the queen's baby in, because they don't know I'm Rumpelstiltskin.
The queen was so happy to hear those words that she rewarded the servant handsomely. Later, when the little man walked in, he had an evil smile on his face.
Well, Your Majesty, do you know what my name is?
I think it's Jack.
Wrong.
Maybe it's Bill?
Wrong again.
The little man was delighted and hopped around with glee.
One more guess is all you get.
Then it must be Rumpelstiltskin.
The little man's face turned red with anger, and he stamped on the floor with such force that he fell right through it. That was the last anyone ever saw of him. And the king, the queen, and their child lived happily ever after.